Well, I have on my computer a very nice digital version of the newspaper or music paper Rolling Stone, and every issue from the very beginning and up until, well, I don't know, some years ago. And it's a great treat to read these old music articles and, well, from back then. And sometimes you find these music articles where the music journalist is just, well, pulling your leg. And I'm going to talk about a record here that is mentioned in this. I don't know if you can see. I can't see really where I'm aiming my webcam at the moment. But you should see a picture of an LP called The Masked Marauders, with an image of a woman, and we see a hand, and the record is called The Masked Marauders, and it was issued on a record label called Deity. And this is quite fun. I'm going to read this to you. They began months ago, the rumors of an event that at first seemed hardly believable, but which in the end was accepted as all but inevitable. After all, with Grape Jam, Supersession, the live adventures of Blind Faith, Joe Cocker's LP, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, jammed together, and fathers and sons, it had to happen. Set for release late this month, The Masked Marauders, a 2-record set, may evoke an agonizing tip-of-the-tongue, lobe-of-the-air recognition in some, or cries of no, it can't be true in others, but yes, it is. A treasured, oft-Xerox sheet of credits, which, for obvious contractual reasons, will not be reproduced on the album, and the unmistakable vocals make it clear that this is indeed what it appears to be. John Lennon, Mick Jagger, Paul McCartney and Bob Dylan, backed by George Harrison and a drummer as yet unnamed, The Masked Marauders. Produced by Al Cooper. The album was recorded with impeccable secrecy in a small town near the site of the original Hudson Bay colony in Canada. Cut in late April, only 3 days were required to complete the sessions, though mixing and editing involved months of serious consultations on both sides of the Atlantic. Word has it that the cover art was intended to be a send-up of Blind Faith, but none of the principals were willing to comment on the situation. The LP opens with an 18-minute version of The Season of the Witch, lead vocal by Dylan, on which he does a superb imitation of early Donovan. The cut is highlighted by an amazing jam between bass and piano, both played by Paul McCartney. Then the tone of the album is set by the next track, With a Little Help from My Friends, all, followed by a very brief In the Midnight Hour, which collapses in giggles, and this is the joke of the set. Side 2 begins with an extremely moving a cappella version of Masters of War, sung by Mick and Paul. You will truly wish after hearing this cut that you could stand over their graves until you're sure that they are dead. This is followed by an indescribable 12-minute John Lennon extravaganza. James Brown's Prisoner of Love, complete with a full 10-minute false ending. Don't let me be a prisoner, ooh, ah, ee, ooh. Please don't let me be a prisoner, ach, oh, ah, ooh. The oldest craze is not slighted. Dylan shines on side 3, displaying his new bass voice with Duke of Earl. Jagger with The Book of Love, and John, of course, with I'm the Japanese Sandman. Paul showcases his favorite song, Mammy, and while his performance is virtually indistinguishable from Eddie Fisher's version, it is still very powerful, evocative, and indeed stunning. And they say a white boy can't sing the blues. After the listener has recovered from this string of masterpieces, side 4 opens with a special treat, 2 songs written especially for this session. Dylan's Cow Pie, which is very reminiscent of Billy Ed Wheeler's The Interstate is Coming Through My Outhouse, and Mick Jagger's new instant classic I Can't Get No Nookie. In line with the present trend towards simplicity, the album Sorry. The album nearly ends with a very simple duet on acoustic guitars, George and Bob, a marvelously sensitive, yearning, melancholy exploration of Kick Out the Jams. The final cut, a group vocal, is what else? Oh, happy day. This track will probably be released as a single. All the hassles of creating a special label, of rearranging schedules, chartering planes, and minimizing the inevitable ego conflicts were worth it. It can truly be said that this album is more than a way of life. It is life. And it's signed by T.M. Christian. Well. Well. And I have it here. But all this is, well, many of you already know this, but I think it's so funny. All this is, of course, total baloney. None of these superstars have been in any way active in doing this album. And first, only this review existed. But then people started asking for this album. Of course, they wanted to hear this fantastic album with all these superstars jamming together. So, a record was recorded. Of course, by a group of musicians that had nothing to do with these. But I can say, well, the singer that sings I Can Get No Nookie at least sounds quite a lot like Mick Jagger. And it is issued on a label called Deity, but it belongs to Reprise. And it isn't a double album, it's a single album, but we have many of the titles mentioned here. We have I Can't Get No Nookie, Duke of Earl, Cow Pie, I Am the Japanese Sandman, The Book of Love, Season of the Witch, and so on. Saturday Night at the Cow Palace. So, it's... This record is just, well, rather, the review was just a joke, and it ended up making the joke even better by actually recording this song. If you compare it to the image of the record on the, in the review in Rolling Stone, you can see that it looks like this record, but it's a different woman, but standing in the same pose. So, and when we leave the joke aside, I have to say that this is quite a good album. I like it, and of course, the whole review is such a laugh fest. But still, sometimes Rolling Stone was a big laugh fest. When I read the review of the Santana album that followed this review. In the same issue of Rolling Stones, it feels a bit like a joke as well, because the way the reviewer really trashed the Santana album, talking about how incredibly bad it was, you really can't take it seriously, but it's great fun anyway. The names of those who has written or who has done the music and recorded the music, and the man who called himself T.M. Christian, they have been reviewed since, so it's not a secret longer who they are, but I'm not going to say it here. T.M. Christian, the Magic Christian. Anyway, just thought I'd show you this album, and I think that there are some quite a lot of examples taken from the actual record on YouTube, so if you want to listen to what it sounds like, you don't have to buy it. I think you can find it on YouTube as well. Well, that's all about that.